want to talk about something that comes up all the time, which is the belief that we're dealing with the same thing over and over again. I know I've said it so many times, like, I cannot believe I'm dealing with this thing again. I've been working on this for years. But I want to reiterate this. You're not back where you started. You're never back at the same place. If you're on a spiral, like a spiral staircase, you may be passing the same view every time, but you're at a new, higher level. You're seeing it with new eyes. You have more wisdom and more tools and more capacity. My name is Deb Blum, and this is The Whole Soul Way. It's my signature program that I've been teaching for the past 4 years, and I decided to offer the foundation lessons, exercises, and tools for free on YouTube and all of the major podcast channels. Because I truly believe that the world needs more of us healed, whole, authentic, and awake. And you know what? I don't want to be a barrier to anyone getting the help that they need. And in fact, I really want to be part of the change. Each lesson builds on the last. So if this is your first time here, make sure that you start at the beginning. This is your invitation. Show up, do the work, and join the movement of souls who are committed to creating a better world, one inner transformation at a time. Let's dive in. Have you ever felt lost in your own healing journey? Like you're waiting for someone else to help you to figure out what you should be doing next, what's ready to be healed. Maybe you're looking to your therapist to help you to figure it out. Or maybe you feel like you're stuck and that no matter what you do, you never really make the progress that you want to be making. Maybe you're comparing yourself to someone else's healing journey, maybe seeing their breakthrough or their modality of healing and wondering if you should be doing the same thing. Well, here's the thing. When we're looking for someone else to do this for us and comparing to other people, or maybe even sometimes reading a book just because someone else told us it's a good book, what we're really doing is disconnecting from our own inner wisdom. It kind of makes us more of a passenger in our lives rather than the one that's in the driver's seat. And unfortunately and painfully, it often keeps us from the deepest soul level healing that's available for us when we learn to trust our own inner guidance. What if I told you that I know for sure that you're not lost at all? What if you're exactly where you need to be and you have this internal built in guidance system, a GPS system that's always guiding you home, that's always guiding you to what needs to be healed? And on top of it all, that your healing journey is uniquely yours. So that GPS, your internal guidance system, knows your healing journey, knows your timing, knows the specific path that you're going to be on. Imagine that your soul chose this particular route for a reason. So here's the deal. When you learn to trust your internal guidance system, what I call your soul way GPS, you step into the kind of empowerment that changes everything. I am in such awe about how we're designed. Truly, the more that I do this work, both on myself and with clients, the more that I see that we are so incredibly cleverly built. I want to paint a picture of how this works. As children, we are small and powerless, right? When you were little, you were small and powerless. And in order for us to feel safe, to win the love and approval of the people who take care of us, to avoid pain and discomfort, and disappointing people, we learn to adapt. We adapted to our environment. We developed protection strategies, coping mechanisms, defense mechanisms, and this was not a failure. This was incredibly resourceful. It was probably necessary. Most often, it's based in survival. Dr. Gabor Mate talks about our two fundamental needs, authenticity and acceptance. And as children, because we are so dependent and so vulnerable, we unconsciously chose to sacrifice our authenticity to be accepted. We had to. There really was probably no other way. Think about that for a moment. Your younger self made an impossible choice in order to survive, and she did it beautifully. So there comes a point in your life where you are no longer the powerless, defenseless child. Sometimes it takes us a while to figure it out. Could be in our 20s, could be in our 40s and 50s, or sometimes it's at the end of our lives. When we realize that, and we also become aware that our protection strategies are no longer necessary and that they're actually starting to interfere with our lives. They're interfering with connection. They're stealing our joy. They're limiting our potential. They're causing us to suffer. Something starts to awaken inside of us. Our soul says, it's time. It's time. This is the beginning of an awakening from living in the fog of our past, of our conditioning, of all of the beliefs that were imparted to us. We awaken to our own lives. We awaken to our own path. We awaken to the truth of who we are. Don Miguel Ruiz, in his books, The Four Agreements, talks about this domestication process that happens to us. That's what happens first, but then we have to kind of unhook from that and start to live our own lives. Our soul says, it's time. And when you're ready, and if you're here, you're ready, your soul begins to guide you on a path to understand all the ways you protect yourself, to reveal parts of yourself that you had to cut off from to feel safe, and to cultivate enough inner safety to open your heart again, to live in love fully, to put your soul in the driver's seat instead of your ego, your fear, and your protection mechanisms. And none of this is random. It's not chaotic. This is a divine orchestration. For some of you, you're going to say, yes, 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 Deb, I've been living this way. This is exactly what I believe. Tell me more. Some people, you maybe haven't been living this way, but some part of your soul's like, yeah, this is true. And then some others, it might feel like a huge stretch for you. Maybe you've always seen life as random, haphazard, more chaotic, just kind of like it is what it is. And I really do get it. But what if just for a moment you suspended disbelief? What if you considered the possibility that everything has been happening for you, not to you? What if every person who's hurt you, every challenge you faced, every trigger that still makes your heart race, what if they're all messengers? What if they're all mirrors? What if they're breadcrumbs on a trail leading you back home to yourself? Some people call this the golden path. When you're on it, you're fully aligned with your soul's guidance and your soul's path, and things unfold naturally. That's not to say that there aren't huge challenges that come up, even painful, really painful things, but there's a flow, there's a purpose, and there's a meaning. Now, in no way am I trying to negate or minimize or dismiss the things that happened to us as children, the ways that we got wounded and hurt when we were really vulnerable and we needed people to take care of us and protect us. Not at all. And in fact, the whole Soul Way journey is all about looking at the ways that we didn't get what we needed or that we got hurt and harmed, and to reparent ourselves so that we can come into wholeness now. What happened to you when you were a child was not okay. And what I don't want you to do is continue to cause harm to yourself for the rest of your life because you don't know how to go in and take care of your own inner child, reparent yourself, and then come back into wholeness. I don't want your traumas and your wounding to forever be holding you down and holding you back. I want you to be free from them. There's a quote by Rumi that captures this beautifully. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Your pain is not random. Your triggers are not obstacles. They're invitations. They're trailheads marking the path to your own freedom. Let me explain how this guidance system actually works in practical terms, because this isn't just a philosophy. This is really a repeatable process that you can use over and over again. And the Whole Soul Way is fundamentally teaching this repeatable process so that every single time in your adult life, you're experiencing some type of irritation, trigger, activation, struggle, pain, that you know exactly what to do. The first step is recognition. It's realizing that the thing that's happening to you is actually happening for you so that you can acknowledge, oh, wait a second, there's a thing, this pattern, this trigger, this challenge, this irritation, this frustration, this judgment. Oh, I forgot, it's here for me. Instead of seeing them as a terrible thing that's happening to you, you recognize them as invitations for you to do the inner work so you can unhook from the past, so you can free yourself, so you can face your fears instead of letting them run your life. So you can unpack your belief systems instead of your beliefs running the show unconsciously. This is the moment you say to yourself, oh, I see this. Oh, okay, I see this. I'm triggered by this situation. I'm feeling a lot of emotion. I'm noticing this pattern. Cool, I'm going to use this. This is the trailhead. Now, just to be clear, It's probably the hardest step of the whole thing if you haven't already been doing this. If you're a person who's already been doing a lot of this work, then what you're going to find is this just might give you a little better structure for what you do once you see one of these trailheads, when you see an entry point. So, an example could be that you notice that every time your partner asks you what's wrong, you shut down. And maybe for a long time, you've just been like, yeah, this is just who I am. And all of a sudden you say, wait a second, this seems to be a pattern and it's causing issues in my relationship. Maybe I'll explore this a little bit. So, this is the point where we start using the GPS. The first thing is we found a trailhead. Imagine that if you were using a GPS, you need your initial coordinates, right? And then you need to know where you're going. Well, the initial coordinate of where you are right now is step one. It's the recognition of I am here right now. I am dealing with this pattern or this trigger. Thank you. I'm at the beginning of my trailhead. Now we have a GPS that guides us. What's that guiding us toward? It's guiding us to more wholeness, toward being more of our true selves, to be freer, more alive, have better relationships. Okay, that's where we're going. Well, how do we get there? Well, the G of the GPS is going inside. This is when we're excavating. This is where we're getting curious. This is when we ask ourselves questions like, what am I protecting myself from right now? What part of me feels unsafe? What old wound is this touching? What do I need right now? What did I need as a child? This is where you are beginning to learn to parent yourself by being with yourself the way you needed when you were young. This is when you start to say, I see you. Oh, I see that there's a hurting part inside of me. This is where we do things like take care of ourselves. This is where we would do self care. Step three, this is P. This is when we get into parenting ourselves. This is where we start to understand the why beneath the pain. We start to have compassion for the part of us that had to go through the things that we had to go through. We look at the younger part that adapted in this way, and we start to cultivate inner safety. We provide to ourselves the things that we didn't get when we were children. We become the parent we most needed and wanted when we were little. This is the healing work. This is where we learn to accept ourselves rather than reject ourselves and to love ourselves. This is where transformation happens. When we get to step four, it's the S in the GPS, show up, showing up differently, showing up more fully, showing up with your soul as the true guide. This is where the rubber meets the road, where you take what you've learned and you show up in new ways. You make different choices. You set boundaries or interrupt some of those unhealthy patterns. And we do this in tiny baby steps. We do them incrementally and unskillfully because this is all new for us to come out into the world in a different way. It's new and it can be really, really scary. But we take these baby steps and risks so that we can prove to ourselves that we're safe enough, that we're no longer a powerless little child. We prove to ourselves that we are safe enough to show up differently in this world, to be our true selves. But here's the thing, when we take those risks and we put ourselves out there, sometimes what ends up happening is it doesn't always get received as well as we'd like it to. We don't always get the validation that we're doing the right thing for other people. Because what are we doing? We're doing the right thing for ourselves this time. And so that might bring us to a place where we get a little activated again, where it touches a wound for us again. And then we go back and we see that as a trailhead. And we go back in to the GPS. We go inside, we parent ourselves, and then we show up again. And we keep doing this bravely so that we can finally eventually reveal who we really are, to show up as the emotionally mature and spiritually whole people that we're meant to be. Because this is a spiral, it is not a straight line. Yes, you revisit the same themes, but never from the same place. Each time you're at a new level of consciousness, healing another layer. What I hope you're seeing is that this is really putting you in the driver's seat of not just your life, but your healing journey. And I like to talk about this as self-leadership. So what starts to change when you're using your Soulway GPS? You stop waiting. You're not sitting around until your next therapy session to deal with something. You know how to do your inner work real time. You become more discerning. You begin to trust yourself internally to know which healers to work with, which therapists, what modalities are calling out to you, and what's up for you to heal right now. Rather than comparing to what you think you should be doing, you actually know intrinsically what you need to be doing. And I really believe that your healing accelerates because when you show up to work with a coach or a therapist or you're on a group call for the whole soul way, you know exactly what you want to work on. You're not waiting for them to drag it out of you. You're not just talking in circles so that you can try to find yourself. You know how to find yourself. You know how to find what the trailhead is and what to do about it. You start to trust yourself. It's huge. You stop second guessing every feeling, every impulse and choice, and you know how to listen to your own internal guidance and what to do about it. You stop being distracted. When someone else is going through something different, like a friend or on social media or something, you don't abandon your path to choose theirs. You have faith that you are on your own path. You trust it and you focus on following your own breadcrumbs. My favorite thing is when my clients come to me and say they know exactly what they want to work on, that they tell me what trailhead they found that week and they're really clear and they're empowered and they're in the driver's seat. And then I'm just there as a guide to help them to navigate it. And that's what I really want for you too, because too many of us don't even know what we're doing on our healing journey. We're just kind of talking about it and processing it and journaling about it. And oftentimes just sitting in our own stuff, not really knowing how to take each thing and do something about it. I want to talk about something that comes up all the time, which is the belief that we're dealing with the same thing over and over again. I know I've said it so many times, like, I cannot believe I'm dealing with this thing again. I've been working on this for years. But I want to reiterate this. You're not back where you started. You're never back at the same place. If you're on a spiral, like a spiral staircase, you may be passing the same view every time, but you're at a new, higher level. You're seeing it with new eyes. You have more wisdom and more tools and more capacity. You're healing in layers like an onion. Each layer reveals something new and something truer. And the truth of the matter is that each layer you heal gives you more capacity, internal safety, and strength to heal the next layer. It's not a failure. This is truly by design. This is truly how healing works. And that's why sometimes you'll experience this big healing and you'll feel so relieved. You'll had this full integration inside of you. And then you'll go through life again. And maybe you're going through life in a new way with more freedom, with more authenticity, with a more open heart. And then you meet this thing again, and it feels like you're right back at the beginning, but you're genuinely not. So, whenever you find yourself revisiting an old wound or an old pattern, I want you to take a breath and ask, what am I being invited to see this time? What's different about how I'm showing up? And I promise you, something's shifted. You just have to look for it, but maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe you just need to trust that it's true. Just trust that you're at a next level. Some people will say new level, new devil. Like at the new level, you're going to meet some new kind of thing, and that's the way it works. I want to be crystal clear about something. As I teach you the Whole Soul Way program, you may feel so much more confident that you can do this journey on your own. Totally love that. But I am by no means suggesting that you should not be working with other people. I absolutely am so supportive of working with therapists, coaches, healers, guides, friends, getting the support you need. I personally love doing things in group work because I feel like that's some of the deepest healing that we can do when we're surrounded by other people, realizing we're not alone. It's absolutely not about isolating yourself and doing everything alone, okay? Just be super clear on that. But it is going to give you the ability to know why you're working with somebody and what you need from them. Being an empowered participant in your healing rather than a passive recipient. Trusting your intuition when it tells you to seek out something like EMDR or somatic work or energy healing. Knowing when talk therapy is the right thing that you need and when it's time to move beyond talk therapy to something else. I want you to trust that your soul is calling out to you, telling you where to go. There's always a season for the people that we work with. And oftentimes we'll find ourselves working with the same therapist for years and years and years. And my invitation is to make sure that you're trusting and listening inside. Is it time to go deeper with this person to move on? And that's something else that if you're listening, your soul will tell you. You get to choose your support and your timing. And I want you to be reverent toward your own path, devotional toward the journey that your soul is taking you on. So, as we bring this to a close, I want you to take this with you. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are not behind. You do have a built in guidance system that has been with you your entire life, and it's never stopped working. It's been leaving you breadcrumbs this whole time. Every trigger is a trailhead, every pattern is a message, every person is a messenger, every challenge is an invitation to come home to yourself. You get to be in the driver's seat. You get to trust yourself, know your path, and decide what's next. This is your soul's journey. And you, the most conscious, most powerful version of you are exactly who's meant to be leading your own path. So just take a moment, take a breath, and just take this in. Your GPS is always guiding you, but it does mean that you have to be paying attention and you have to shift if you haven't already from the false and disempowering story that we've been believing that life is happening to us to the most true and empowering story, which is that life is happening for us. I am so glad you're here and I am so glad you're doing this work. I can't wait to see where your breadcrumbs take you. Be gentle with yourself, trust your process, and remember, you've got this. If you found this lesson helpful and you're ready to go deeper with it, to truly master using your Soulway GPS and learn the repeatable process for navigating your healing journey, I highly recommend that you continue listening in season 1 of the Elite podcast.